Hey guys, Eka here from Bike Riding Tales, and in this episode I'm going to talk about the Restrap Race Saddle Pack. So, the saddle pack is the most minimalist in their range, which also makes it the lightest. So this is the Restrap style where you basically have a harness that is installed to your saddle rails and your seat post, and you've got the dry bag. So this is the smallest that they have of this type. There's also a 14-liter version, and then I think there's also an 8-liter version that has a little bit more room, is more substantial in terms of the harness system. So in this one, I just want to talk about this little harness and how to get everything fitted. And this is their 7-liter bag that is basically designed to fit with this harness system. So let's get to it. Alright, so let's talk through installing this on the saddle. But before I do that, I'll just talk a little bit about the harness itself. So the whole entire thing is a single piece of HDP plastic, and it is lined with X-Pac fabric. So it has a bit of weatherproofing on the top and bottom over there, and then obviously you'll be using it with a waterproof dry bag. You've got this foam spacer over here, which basically is designed to sit against the underneath the saddle over here, so it helps to dampen and also reduce the amount of sway. There's also 2 of the foam spacers here as well for positioning and also for a bit more dampening along the seat post. So as you can see, the whole design is quite minimalist. You basically have these straps that loop through the saddle rails, and once the harness goes on, it basically stays there, and then you take the dry bag in and out. So let's get to it. So first, you got to get these straps, and you just sort of loop these through saddle rail like so. So it's going to be a little bit loose at first, and this does not use buckles, so the first time around it may seem a little bit confusing. So you're basically, let's just do this one at a time. Alright, so goes in once like that, and then you have to loop it through. Just do it like that. Just keep it loose first, and then I will repeat it on the other side. So here we go. Looping it through here. There we go. Just keep it loose first. And then now I'm gonna put this strap on the seat post. So as you can see, there's actually a few loops over here where you can position that strap along the harness to find the position that works best for you. So this one works for me. So I'm just lining that up against the seat post, and this one is just a simple little strap with a cam lock. So looping it there, just get it roughly in position. There we go. So before I put anything in, I just want to make sure that the position of the harness is all good. So you want to make sure that this foam spacer, when it's tucked under there, it can basically have maximum contact with the bottom of your saddle like so. So that just gives you an indication of how it's going to fit once you actually put the dry bag inside. So right now it looks all, loose and stuff, but once you put the dry bag in there and you tighten everything up, it will be, pretty tight. Well, at least tight enough. So that's pretty much it. So that is putting in saddle. Oh right, and there's a little O-ring over here. Just loop that strap through. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So you can fine-tune how tight it gets once the dry bag goes in. So for now, that's pretty much it. So you've got a loose harness, and then putting in the dry bag, you will get to tighten it up after that. So let's do the dry bag next. So this is the dry bag, which is 7 liters, and it has a logo on both sides, which actually serves a functional purpose. So basically, when you're putting all of your stuff in there and the whole entire bag is stuff, the logo is a visual indicator in terms of orientation. So once this goes into the harness, you should be seeing the logo coming out at the right and the left side of the harness, so it just gives you an indication of how it's positioned. So now I'm gonna fill it up. So what can I fit inside a 7-liter bag? So I'm gonna bring my autumn kit. So first of all, I've got long, well, they're not really bib shorts anymore when they're long. Bib tights, there we go. So these tights are thermal, so they're a little bit thicker. So let's just put them in. And I want to get them in there as snug as possible. And then I've got my thermal top as well, my long sleeve jersey. So that's also going in. Alright. Then I've got base layer. This is merino. Gets in there as well. And I also have a set of off-the-bike clothes, although this is really for lounging, like if I'm at a hotel. So I've got cotton shorts, underwear, and a top. So at least I can, walk around in sort of gym clothes, lounging in a hotel or wherever it is I choose to stay at. So let's go ahead and stuff it all in. There we go. Make sure it's pretty much as stuffed as you can get it, so it gives the back, gives it a bit of shape. Alright, so that's pretty much it. So make it waterproof, you gotta roll it once, roll it twice. So two rolls gives it the waterproofness that's recommended. I can obviously, there's a little bit more room here if I wanted to have like an extra set of socks or whatever, but there we go. So this is the 7-liter dry bag that is as stuffed as possible, or at least pretty close to it. So we're gonna stick this into the harness next. All right, time to stuff it in there. So like I mentioned, logo is actually functional. It helps with positioning into the harness. So let's do exactly that. So here we go. Get that fully stuffed dry bag, shove it in there as far as you can, and make sure that it is actually touching the bottom. So push it in all the way, and you can see I'm positioning the logo so that it's pretty much facing outside. So that gives you an indication of how well it's positioned. And now that I've got it in there, it's time to tighten things up. So as you can see, it's still loose. So let me just stabilize that a bit so I don't have to hold on to that all the time. Let's take this clip. So you can see it's a magnetic a magnetic clip. Just goes in, so pretty easy. Let me just tighten that up first so it stays put. There we go. So at least the air is there. So still tons of wiggle. So this is where we're gonna get it all tight. Okay, so let's tighten it up. So let's start with this strap on this side. So you can see that, like I've mentioned, you want to make sure that this foam spacer is tucked underneath and touching the bottom of the saddle as much as possible, maximum contact. And I will pull. Alright. Do the same on the other side. Pull. Pull those straps. Get it in there as tight as you can. There we go. So now it's nice and secure. Make sure that it's still tucked in. And then I can also tighten up the this buckle here as well. There we go, a lot tighter. Cool. Alright, so that is looking much better. Foam straps are good. And yeah, the foam and the straps are good. And let me just pull a little bit more, get it even tighter if I can. Alright, so I believe that should be, there we go, as tight as I can get it. So as you can see now, it doesn't really sway at all. It's nice and tight. And then there's a little clip here that lets you just tuck the strap in. That's pretty much it. Repeat on the other side. So you can move these little clips along just to position it a little better. There we go. So at least it's just nice and tight there. And then I'll tighten this one some more. There we go. And you've got this other clip over here, which helps with you know, just getting those straps all neatly tucked in so that they're not flailing about. There we go, that's pretty much it. So, super tight, minimal sway, and as minimalist as it is designed. And that's pretty much it. So, pretty straightforward. One more bit of additional detail that is also pretty cool. You know how I mentioned that the logo over here is functional? Well, I've got my phone and I am shining my light on it, and you can see it is also reflective. So for that bit of nighttime riding, when you have to ride through the night, at least you've got a little bit of safety there. So that is a very nice bit of detail for nighttime riding safety. Pretty awesome. Alright, so that's pretty much it. You've got the harness, you've got the dry bag, everything is set on the saddle, nice and tight, and I do like the system. So just to wrap things up, I'll share my final thoughts on what I think about this. So it is minimalist. The design is very compact, it is very light, which, you know, that comes with the nature of being a minimalist harness system. In terms of how it fits, one thing to note, you do, well, at least for me, I have a setback seat post over here, and then I've got my saddle heading back a bit, so with a bit more setback, it seems to prefer that. So this harness works very well when you've got a little bit more setback. You basically have more contact area where the foam sits underneath the saddle, so this basically makes it very, very tight, and you have minimal sway. If you have a seat post that is zero setback and the saddle is a lot more forward, you can imagine this whole entire thing rotating up a little bit, so there might be a little bit more sway, so that gets a little bit fiddly. But fortunately for me, I've got a setup that is ideally suited for this. The other thing to note is for 7 liters, you got to make sure that the entire thing is pretty much filled to the brim. So you need to give the dry bag shape. So enough shape to basically fill it up so that when you are putting it into the harness, you have enough compression on there to keep things tight. So if you don't have enough stuff and you're just, you know, putting stuff in there and there's a lot more room inside the dry bag, it's not going to be as tight as it can be when you're installing it into the harness on your seat post. So just keep that in mind. With that said, for a racing setup, 7 liters is just enough. As you can see from my earlier example, I had a full set of cold weather gear. I've got my bib tights, my long sleeve jersey, and then I've also got the base layer and off the bike set of clothes. So that pretty much fills up 7 liters. But if you're the type of person that needs a lot more than that, then there is a 14 liter backpacking version. Bike packing version from the Carry Everything range. So that's something that we will review next. But when it comes to something that's very lightweight, very minimal, and you know, you're packing for a bike packing race, for example, this is perfect. You have your one set of clothes that you're wearing on you, and you've got your entire spare that's in here. Good enough. So I probably have a little bit more room in here to stick in a jacket and an extra pair of socks as well, because this I can, you know, fold that out a little bit more, or you can, you know, also just tuck a jacket underneath here and tighten it up so that you have a little bit more room. But yeah, that's pretty much it. It's a very, very cool system, and if it works for you, then you will really like this. So final words, I just want to thank Cyclist Wardrobe and Global Synergy Sports for giving me the opportunity to try this. So we did use this system. I actually had this harness with me when we did the Langkawi trip, so I was traveling with it, and it worked really well. So to be fair, I used this with a couple of other dry bags towards the front, so I was able to distribute my goodies all along the bike. So the nice thing about having something that's a little bit smaller at the rear is you have a little bit more control of the bike. Your bike doesn't have that tail wagging effect where you have too much stuff. So that's the nice thing about forcing yourself to pack light. So if you can fit things inside 7 liters, then good for you, good for the bike. Your bike handling will be pretty nice, which is the whole entire goal if you've got a race setup like this. So there we go. Thank you very much, and see you on the next one.